and welcome to our live design masterclass here on Monday. Yes, for many of us, we are celebrating a bank holiday, and the only way to celebrate is with having an amazing lady to give us a masterclass, and she's going to take us step by step through this incredible piece. It's the beautiful Linda.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Our brand new theme is to go with live masterclasses.
Yes, with all its warts and pimples. Yes.
We have plenty of those to share between us, haven't we?
Yes.
And we're going to take everyone step by step through one of your boutique selection designs. This is all about capturing that real, true, elegant intricacy of design, a quality of craftsmanship where you really do have that couture feel about it.
Yes, and it's something, once you've sort of learnt this sort of filigree technique and how it works, then the sky's the limit, really. You can put it together in any type of design that that you see, or that you see the picture in your head.
But filigree work, as you so rightly said, is all about the detail.
Yes.
And filigree work only works when you've got intricacy of craftsmanship. Otherwise it becomes...
Yeah, it's a little bit measured. It's a little bit more, perhaps, thought about than actually sitting down with some beading thread and a pot of gemstones. But once you get the feel of it, once you get the flow of it, then the sky's the limit, really, in design terms.
So we're going to give you the chance to create exactly this look. So we're not going to give you the whys and wherefores of what you could create. We're actually going to give you the exact. This is going to be the opportunity to get this very, very look that Linda has surpassed herself with creating with this first offer. So creating this look, you need all of these beautiful ingredients, which seem to give a real opulent quality to your jewellery. You really do have the chance to create something very, very special within this gorgeous, warm, rich quality of gemstones and ingredients. We're working with antique wire, and the antique bronze is probably one of our most popular, if probably not the most popular wire. Always is a case of that it has that once it's in the building, it's back out the building. Yes, it is one of our flyers. A custom that we have in this building is to call a flyer something that doesn't stay in the vaults for long, and our antique bronze is certainly that. And bit of a deal on this one, because you're going to get 100 meters of your antique bronze. It's 0.6 millimeter, and you're also going to get a further 100 meters of your 0.25 millimeter antique bronze. So in total, 200 meters of your antique bronze to start off this fantastic citrus twist filigree inspired design. So you've got your wire, 200 meters. You're also going to need these beautiful Italian made brushed effect detail beads. Those gold beads just add a real luscious quality, very much a sumptuous. I think the moment you say Italian made, you know that there's a luxury aspect to your jewellery instantly. I mean, of course, you're making jewellery that I think probably most people will see as boutique standard. So using the quality of an Italian manufactured bead certainly gives it even more of a status of luxury. And so you're going to get, and I'm just going to grab these in a handful, as you can see, lots of lovely beads to create this one look. So you're going to get your lanterns, you're going to get your ovals and your rounds, and you're also going to get your rondelles. All of those come together within this one package. So this is all coming together in one deal. Final thing you need, and as you can see, you've got a lot of feature to the gemstones here, and it's called Citrus Twist for a reason, because you've got the citrus zest, the warmth of golden hues of your citrine, and these are fantastic in terms of their shape and in terms of their coloration. You've got here your 60 carat citrine puffy ovals. They are 9 by 6 millimeter, and the lovely thing about the hue of these gemstones is that it's warming, it's rich again, it's just capturing that opulence. And I do believe that when you start to see this combination, you see summertime, but the lovely aspect of designs like this is that you see summertime, you'll see autumn, you can see winter, you can see springtime. There is nothing that can quite be a general within this design, because I do think there's a different texture that gives it much more of a season on season wearability, not just sitting in one season and not get the benefit from any other. And I always think that citrine has got that really exciting capability of taking you from an autumn collection, which is the warmer russet tones and maybe going with the bronzes, to then lead you into spring and summer, and you've got that lovely light freshness from the look. So it's a very versatile gemstone to work with within your jewellery. Of course, November's birthstone, and known as the gemstone of happiness. And you're going to be rather happy with us today. You're not just going to get the gemstone of happiness, but we're going to do you something very special on the price. Now, you've got 200 metres of wire, and you know that that should be setting you back some serious wadges of cash, shouldn't it? This should be setting you back some serious money in the first place. But don't forget, not only have you got the wire, 200 metres of it, you've got the beads and the citrine for one price tag. And that price, $32.95. For it all, not just for the wire, not just for the wire, but for the wire and the beads and the citrine. $32.95 is all you pay. If you want to join us, you know what you've got to do. Down the number at the bottom of the screen is a free phone number that you're dialing, 0800 644 655, or alternative, you can join us on the web at www.JewelleryMaker.com. The lovely aspect of this opportunity is that you've got so much more than just this neckline to get your resulting jewellery. Of course, 100, in fact 200 metres of wire. It's going to take you a long, long way. It's not just going to be one or two pieces of jewellery. You are going to get a lot more than that. And Linda, one presumes that you haven't actually used a huge amount of that 200 metres. So, you know, once you've got that filigree work down and in action, you've then got almost an unending opportunity to create lots and lots of jewellery.
Absolutely. I mean, basically, I've used 3 times 1 metre lengths. So basically, that's 3 metres of a 100 metre reel.
Wow.
Of the 0.6.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So you still got another 97 metres.
97 metres later, you're still there going, more filigree. Why that Linda?
Yes, yeah,
why that Linda? I can't believe she made me start this. An amazing luxury. Where did this design be? Where did you come with the inspiration?
I think it's probably what we term sort of a downturn look. It's probably an Edwardian style type of technique that we're putting together here. I mean, it's something that you can use in various different looks, but it works particularly well in a vintage look. But by all means, you know, sort of contemporise it and bring it smack bang up to date. It'll work just as well.
So, I guess in many ways, one looks at this and you could kind of break it down into 2 sections.
Yes,
the filigree work of the wire, and then the lovely detailing that's gone into the actual gemstones and the main body of the neckline piece. So is that how you break it up? Is that how you
That's
start
how you break it up, yes, exactly. First of all, which I think we're going to bring on in a few minutes, is there's a very integral piece of tool that we need to use, which in my view is just a great little piece of machinery, as it were, to create so much and so diverse a look. But that's effective definitely to this design. That's where I started when we first launched this twister tool, and then went on from there. And it's just been a joy to work with. Such a simple
I haven't heard anybody do anything other than rave about this twister tool.
It's a great little tool. It really is very simple. Very easy to use. It's probably the most simple tool to use out of the majority of tools. I love it.
I'm going to actually just show you it because I think you can talk about something, but we may as well actually give you the chance to own it. And today, we didn't think we were going to be able to do this because stock is very limited on this product at the moment. We don't have enough to go around standardly, and I have a limited, just a double figure quantity on this. Look, if I had 300 or 400 of these, I'd be probably more content because quite simply, we just can't get enough of these to go around. I don't have anywhere near that. I've got double figure quantity, so if you do want to join me on this one, you're going to have to be fairly sharpish. This is a live broadcast, so we are simply saying to you, we're in a live masterclass. If you want to join us, now is the time to buy. This is it. 0800 644 655, www.JewelleryMaker.com. Your wire twister tool, everything you need to get this beautiful, and it's very much what's the word, symmetrical, so or patterned, or there's no haphazardness.
There's no haphazard. It is slightly asymmetrical in the use of how I've done the neckline, but I see where you're coming from. This is probably the most symmetrical asymmetrical design I've ever done.
And Ollie's come up with the word that I was looking for: regimented twists.
Okay, well we'll work with that then.
Thanks, Ollie. Ollie's my director. That's just going to say, I have a feeling that might have been just a really slight put down. Lindsay's like, yeah, we'll go with that. If, to make Ollie feel better.
Yeah,
if that's what he's come up with, we'll go with that. Bless his little cotton socks, our Ollie. Artistic wire, your wire twister. One price tag and one offer. It really will make a difference and make your jewellery stand out with the quality of a regimented wire twist. One price tag, £8.45. It's already selling out, not surprising. I've only got double quantity figures. I have got a lot of people who are buying who didn't know this was going to be on. That's because you never know what's going to happen on our live masterclasses. You never know what's going to happen. 40 have already been allocated. Not surprised by that one. It is a very, very popular tool. And as I say, we just never have enough in stock. That's one of those things. You just can't keep up with it. If you got it, £8.45. So how do we work it? How do we use it?
Let's start with little techniques on the wire twister itself. First of all, when you unpackage it, you just attach this little disc that's on the front here, this little acrylic disc.
So it comes like this?
Yes, and then you just attach, very simply, all the instructions are on the back. Attach the little disc with this little screw fitting and we are literally ready to go. Okay. Okay. Now I've attached, there's 5 holes and I've attached the 0.6 antique bronze wire. I've attached into 2 of the holes at the minute, okay, ready to go. Now when you're attaching the wire, simply take a length of wire that's easy for you to use and pop it in through the base, okay? Twist it back on itself just so that you've anchored it, okay? Now the next thing that you need to have, basically, is somewhere to attach the other end of the wires to. I, at home, I've got a key in my back door with a hole in the key end, and I literally twist the wire around that. If you're lucky enough to have a little vise or something like you would, even this gizmo tool, okay, with a little vise is brilliant, because as I'll show you now, what we do is we pull on the wire from the crank handle to literally make as sure as you can that all 3 lengths of wire, or how many lengths of wire that you've got, are equal. Simply because if you've got unequal lengths of wire, as you twist, you might get little kinks that you don't really, really want.
And if you didn't have something like that, and you didn't have a key in your back door that has a hole, what could you use? Could you use like your own pliers and twist it that way?
Of course you could.
For example,
yeah,
like if I did that, if you were friends.
This is how we launched it with Carol.
If I did that.
If that's it. You need to keep some real tautness on it.
Okay.
Because you don't want one of those wires to zing out. Okay. So basically what I use here on air is the half of the gizmo tool. So I pass those wires through the little hole in the little gizmo holder, and then turn the wire around it so that you've anchored it. So if you can see it's anchored it. And then it's literally a matter of keeping some tension. Now that one isn't really quite tight enough, so we'll just pull that up a bit more, get the tension on it and reattach, okay? So that's the only thing that you really need to have.
Just to let you know, I've only got 5 wire twisters left. 5 left in stock. 5 left for this showcase. So sorry if you miss out on that, but stay on the lines if you've got a 4 in your hand.
Then simple, very, very simple, is just literally holding the stem of the wire twister and just keep twisting and twisting and twisting and twisting. Now what this does is not only does it give you a nice twist, and obviously you can work in many gauges of wire, it also work hardens the wire. So it becomes really, 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 really tough. Now,
and it definitely looks regimented, doesn't it, Linda?
Exactly. See what's happened now? Once that wire has got to its optimum twist, it won't twist anymore. It just literally, it breaks off. Okay, it breaks off, so you know that you've got enough. So that wire is now just exactly right to work with.
Isn't it?
Okay, so obviously detangle it then from the wire twister tool, take the ends out and use that when you're ready to use it again. Now for this particular project, I used 1 metre of twisted wire. So that means 3 meters of 0.06 wire attached to the wire twister tool, and then twist on. Obviously you've got to have 1 meter's length to stand away to twist it. And remember that I'm saying you need 1 meter, and that's approximate, so always do that a little bit more, because as you twist, obviously the wire will shorten ever so slightly, so not that much in it, but it's worth having more. Right, and then to begin the project, Vic's going to show you a very simple sketch I did. we're going to upload these onto Facebook. I think Chloe said she would, and so if you log into that, you'll find that I've put on here a list of all the different lengths of wire to make the filigree twist. I've done the length so you can see roughly how much that length is, and I've put down the figures.
So in total, you have 12 pieces of wire. Yeah. Each one of them either 10, 4, 4.5, 5, 3 to 5. Yeah, okay.
Roughly that. Those are all approximate lengths. Don't worry if you make them any longer or slightly shorter. It'll just obviously alter the finished product. But those are the rough estimates of wire to cut once it's twisted.
And then
once it's twisted, I've just done a little, I'm not an artist, so I've just done a little sketch. The numbers there are from 1 to 12 in order of attachment to number 1, if you see what I mean.
So
number 1 is the first one, which is this part in the centre here, and then that's figured down as number 1, and then just follow the guide as to all the next pieces to attempt to get. You don't have to get this exact mirror image look, but you'll know as you're working along that you're more or less getting there. Okay. But with making your own jewellery, particularly with wire, you probably find that you never make the same thing exact twice. Sure. Okay. So what I've done is I've already twisted for doing this. I've already made my pieces and twisted it, but what I'll do is...
Like this just is one I made earlier. Yeah. Let me lift them all up. Look at this.
So they're already twisted, and this is number 1 at the front there, and we're working all the way through. This one I've done here, which essentially is number 13. I've made that only because we might find we need an extra piece to add to it to make it that little bit more symmetrical, which is fine with wire work. You can always add to it. So just to make those little twists, just say this is the first length, which is about 10 centimetres, okay? Cut it off with your pliers, and then take the round nose pliers, put them into, which is the widest part of the plier, which is the top end, and just edge it round. Then as you edge it round, bring the wire towards you. We're looking for an S shape, okay? We can firm that up afterwards, but we're looking for an S shape, so bring it towards you using your thumb. Just put a little bit of curve into it, and it'll stay there beautifully because of the work hardening that's gone on. Then on the other end, we're going to do exactly the same. We'll take that through, we edge it round, and we push again in the opposite direction, so we're getting that little bit of an S shape.
Yes.
Okay, and then just probably about 5 centimetres, 4 centimetres, no, not even that. This isn't 10 centimetres, I can see that by looking. You'll see it on the part that I'm going to work with next. Just do a little bit of a kink, okay? And firm it out a bit so that you've just got that little bit of a kink, which is just the part that you're going to use to start doing the design on. So I'll start working on the pieces that I've already pre-made.
Just while we're in a convenient break, just to let you know, if you do have any questions for Linda, this is a live masterclass. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask her, whether it's about the twist or whether it's not about the twist, she probably does know about that.
I do know about that.
So if you want to ask Linda about the twist, or if you want to know about anything about jewellery or as an alternative, you can text in to 60777. Make sure you start your text with JM Studio. So start your text with JM Studio, then text to 60777. Normal network charges do apply. Start your text with JM Studio, but then give us your name so we know who we're talking to, and then give us your question. I'm sure Linda will happily oblige. Whatever it's about, whether it's about how to use the wire, how to create the filigree work, anything about couture jewellery, designer jewellery, anything like that you can think of, just text it, and we'll certainly do our best to ask Linda before the end of the hour. This is a live masterclass that you're watching.
Right, to start the design then, you need to take off a working length of a 0.25 wire, which is very easy to work with, and obviously as it's a matching colour to the 0.6, it's exactly what you need to make sort of a disappearing look. Take number 1 length, which you can see has got that kink in it, okay, and then about a centimetre from the first coil, just take your 0.25 wire and do a couple of twists. Then take number 2 of the wire coils and attach that roughly central onto the backing the first one that we've put on, which I'm always going to call sort of that first backing one, and just twist around until it's sort of stabilised, giving yourself that couple of centimetres at the beginning to do exactly the same with in the other direction. And then when you're happy with that, don't worry too much if it does start to flip about, because what we do then is we get that little bit of excess from the beginning and the long length that you're working with, and twist it around to anchor it. Again, don't worry if it's a little bit floppy, because we can come back to that and put an extra little piece of wire on it afterwards, okay? Then we take number 2 and do exactly the same. Now I've made these, pre-made them, simply because it would take too long to start coiling all of them, but it's quite an enjoyable thing to do actually. So again, anchor, and pop on. This is just a repetition on a theme. Twist it round, keep twisting, keeping the tension on this 0.25 wire. You'll find that you'll get a much firmer attachment if you keep some tension on that. Go around with that first one, pinch together and push round, okay? And then when you get to sort of towards the end of your design, you'll be able to sort of shape them up somewhat. The next one is obviously number 3. So again, on with the wire, just before, this number 3 is going to go just before that sort of natural kink that we put in it previously. Pop that on, number 3. These are all going in the same direction, by the way. Pop it on. We can shape it up afterwards, which we will do when we start doing the jigsaw part of it. Twist it around again, anchor down, twist. This is just really to make sure that both wires essentially at the end are twisted together, so that you avoid any sort of rough ends. Obviously at the end of the whole design, as I said before, you can go over and firm them up, but you can also sort of bend back all those little cuts that you've made, which obviously by the nature of being wire will stick out somewhat. So we just need to now to replenish the 0.25 wire. And always remember when you're using this wire is, if it's on a reel like this, is when you take a piece off, anchor it back to where it came from in the first place, because you'll find it'll all twist off because it's so firmly put on. There's 100 meters on there and you might get in a bit of a tangle. Now, piece number 5 is going to go in the opposite direction. So we're just going to turn that S shape in the opposite direction to those. So again, wire on top, anchor around, turn the S shape into the mirror image direction and twist around.
The image we've put in the bottom box there is available on, we'll put that on our Facebook. We'll also put it alongside the photographs that will be put onto our website, etc. So you'll have access to all of that information that Sheila's going through. Linda is going through. Came out. You can see there, you just step by step, you can see how Linda's actually given you the actual step by step in terms of which wire goes and in what order. One presumes that once you've got that in order,
yeah,
it really does build up and build up, doesn't it?
Exactly, it builds up and it builds up. And to be honest, at the beginning, you might sort of start to think, well, that's looking a little bit sort of untidy at the minute. But believe me, once you've got all your jigsaw together and once you've actually got all your wired pieces together, it definitely will work.
Yeah.
So now we've basically got to number 6, which I've got a little plan here. And number 6 is going to sort of go on the end here. See where you've just attached your last.
So can I just point it out to everyone here, and then if you see it on the number 6.
So where you've just attached your last one on the sort of upgrade to the coil here, we're going to now attach to change the shape of it. So number 6, we pop our wire into the curve, into the coil part, and wire around it, okay? And then we need to get the coil on top there. So hopefully my fingers won't get in the way as we're doing it, but you have to pinch them together. So we've got those two pinch, and then come in to that loop. This is when things will slow down slightly because we're going into the loop. Push the wire in.
Oh yeah, I can see. That's quite a, you have to be quite tight on it then, eh?
Yeah, you have to be tight on it, exactly the same as we've kept tension on the other.
Yeah.
So see which way the wire is more comfortable to go round. As you bring it through and it meets that sort of base, the number one piece that we started with, as you bring it onto that, that's the time to get your tension on here.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, don't have it, you can work loosely through the coils, through these little loops, but once you meet that baseline, just use it to keep up your tension. Okay, so keep that going up nice and tight there, and keep it bringing out. You really need to put because this is 0.25, you can use a lot of it, and it won't look very, it won't look as if you've used a lot because it's the same colour, and because it's a fine gauge, it won't look in sort of a big chunk of it. So keep that going through until you're happy that you've got enough tension. And again, come back to the beginning and twist, anchoring those two wires together. And then, actually I haven't got that round, so let's just twist that round and take it off. Okay, so now we've got this shape. We can move all these down when we're coming up to the jigsaw next.
And in terms of when you're chopping the wire off and things, do you have a preference of where you chop off your wires, or I'm just thinking when you wear it, all the ends.
Yeah, well, as I say, when you finish the piece completely, then that's the time to go back to all these twists, and using the very tip of your flat nose pliers, you can push wire down. You can also use some fine grade sandpaper and take that little bit of a sharp edge off.
We do have the wire,
the rounder as well.
That's a good one, isn't
it? Which will work. I'm not quite sure how much it would round on the 0.25, which is basically the mechanics on here. But just go around and pinch it in. You can do that because I've done that. I had to make one of these for a bride a couple of weeks ago, and that's exactly what I did. I went in and I spent more time and pinched it all in so that there was no sharp endings whatsoever.
Now I've just had a text message in. Barbara from Hampshire says, can't believe that amazing tool have previously done that twisting freehand. Just one question. All the 0.2 wire, how does Linda make sure they don't starch? All the best, that's Barbara.
Do you mean stretch? Is that stretch, starch? What does that? I'm not exactly.
I think they don't stretch, and they must be stretched.
And the 0.25 wire, to be totally honest, is really strong. You could even use it with a wire twister tool. And it's going to work hard on it, so just keep tension on it. The worst thing that you can do when you're working with fine gauge wire is to let your tension go. Keep your tension on it and keep that tension the same as much as you can all the time.
Yeah, don't pull too tight on it. So Barbara, hopefully that answers. If you do have a text message for Linda and you want to text in, you can do so at 60777. It'd be great to hear from you today, and we'll do our very, very best to answer as we go along. This is a live masterclass, so if you are watching and you didn't know it was happening, yes, we're live here. It's Monday. For many of us, it's Bank Holiday Monday, but not for everybody, I know. And if you do want to text in and say hello to us, if you've got any questions for the lovely Linda, make sure you start your text with JM Studio. Give us your name and give us your question to 60777. Normal network charges do apply. Of course, you can text in between between 2 and 3 today. It said 1 and 2, didn't it? So let me just rectify that. It does mean we want you to text in between 2 and 3 today while we're live. Okay.
Okay, the next piece is number 7, which I've just attached in exactly the same way as I've attached all the previous pieces, but I've attached number 7, S shape, onto number 6. Okay, so that number 6 that I've just attached, I've attached number 7 onto that one. Number 8 is exactly the same. We take number 8, which is here. So taking your 0.25 wire, pop it on as before, anchor it and attach.
Same principle?
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Pop it on pinch it out, making sure you will have far more time at home than I have on a live broadcast to make sure that these are all anchored firmly. If you have, as I said before, chopped it off and you're not that happy that it's anchored firmly, just put some more wire on it. So now we've got to I think we're on number 8, aren't we? Okay. So now we're coming back now onto this side of the necklace and we're coming on to number 9. And number 9 is attached on to the first coil of number 1.
Okay, so we're now moving to this one here.
We're moving to that one there, which is attached to the first coil of number 1 and to number 3, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, between 1 and there's the 3,
yeah.
And it's tight,
okay.
Just fastened on here.
So taking some more of the 0.25 wire. Always work with what you're comfortable with when you're using wire to anchor things onto something else, because if you use too much, you'll probably get into a bit of a tangle with it. So we take
Barbara's been back on the text,
right? And
she said she didn't mean starch,
right?
She didn't mean stretch,
right?
She meant scratch.
Scratch. Oh, you mean actually scratch yourself? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we said.
I think we asked the same question, Barbara, actually, didn't we?
Yeah, it's just literally to tidy it off better. Turn the ends in. When you've got a sort of a bare end on a wire as well, you can always do a little U-bend on it and tuck it in under the other wire. There's lots of ways you can work that one out, but just make sure that you either use that fine grain sandpaper or just tucking your ends in, literally. It's also a bit like sewing, just tuck the ends in and perhaps over sew it a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yes, miss.
Right, so the next one now is we're going to anchor the wire on to number 1 at the very beginning of that coil, okay? And then we're going, sorry, I've got a loose one here that's not behaving itself. We're going to bring that one on and we're going to do a mirror image. If you see, that's the mirror image there. And pinch that. Take the wire over, keeping that tension on the 0.25, keep going over and over, and then bring that first one back and do that exactly the same again, and pinch and turn around so that you're anchoring all your working wires together. Chop off, and then, as I say, at the end, come back and pop all those wires back in. And then again, what we're going to do now is we're going to take the end of that wire, okay, and we're going to attach it onto the base of that third one. So pop it through, anchor the wire. Let's anchor the wire onto here so we've just got an anchor point. Pop it through there. This is where it just gets a little bit, if you've got the diagram, you'll know how to put the jigsaw together. So wire it through, catch, bring that up, catch, and this is when you need to feed the wire through, pop it through and catch it again. Okay, bring it through, catch it again. Do it a fair amount of times. I'm not going to do it quite so much because we've got to get this completed in the hour, but just keep threading it through so you're quite confident that that is attached. Okay, turn it through, trim off again. So we're almost there now. You can see it's starting to appear. This one's gone a little bit on a free range. Now we've got to do number 10 next. Okay.
Number 10.
Number 10.
Up the top.
Is the one that's over there. So all we have to do there is attach that one to that one. Okay, so exactly the same again. Anchor your wire, bring it round, and then attach. That's probably the easiest way of doing it, is to anchor the wire first, and then, because you need sort of 2 pairs of hands here,
yes,
is to anchor it onto something so at least that wire's not going free form on its own. Bring it round and just keep on winding it through. This is the fiddly bit when you're trying to work around little bends. But trust me, once you've actually spent 5 minutes on this project. It's just a variation on the same technique all the way through.
It's interesting because as I'm stood watching, I was just thinking, actually, this is a nice technique to have the specifics and to go step by step, almost like a dot to dot.
Yeah.
And then from that point onwards, you can almost create your own dot to dot. You can create your own. So you do your own little artist's impression of how you want it to look, and then you can replicate it, because now you've got the knowledge of how to bring them together.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the next one, this one's gone a little bit freeform because I think under the lights the wire's got a little bit warm. But this is, at the end of it, you firm everything up, and the next piece is this sort of dangle piece here that we fix down here. So again, exactly the same technique. The most consistent thing that you need to do on this is just to have, perhaps prepare all of the, prepare your twisted wire first, prepare all of the cuts first, put them in order, and then you can keep going in that same frame of mind. You don't have to keep thinking, well, now I've got to go and twist that piece now, and what measurement was it? Prepare them all first. Yeah,
be prepared. Okay. I have got another question, actually. Let's see if I can get this thing to work. Meeting technology, as everyone knows, is fairly appalling. Hello?
You in there? Are you there?
Hey! I did it, Castle Lock. Oh, technology. Me, technology.
And me.
Like that, staying apart. Hi, Linda and Vicky. I find when using my pliers on twisted wire lengths that sometimes the ends of the wire part. Am I not twisting tight enough? What can I do to correct this? That's Ruth in Birmingham.
That's actually, I was going to, at the end of the program, I was going to actually mention that will happen when you've twisted wire and you cut it. You will get those little ends that will separate it just by the shock of them being cut. So all you do is you use your flat nose pliers and retwist that end. Okay, having said that, there's a big trend on barbed wire jewellery at the minute. Seriously, there's a big trend. That's the next thing that's going to hit catwalks, is barbed wire jewellery.
Barbed wire?
Yes, you can actually buy barbed wire chain now. That's just, not literally barbed wire, but making the barbed wire look.
All right, okay.
Yeah, the barbed wire look.
Oh, I've got another one. Hang on. Look, look, I've got another one. I just did it in front of us.
Right.
Did you see it?
Yes, I did. It's clever, isn't it?
I didn't know that was going to happen. It just happened. Shan, in Denbighshire, can you put 0.25 wires through each hole in the twister so that you have 10 in total, or is that too many?
No, it's fine. That's absolutely fine. Again, the most critical thing that you need to do is to make sure, really beyond a couple of mils, that those lengths of wire are the same. And obviously when you're dealing with 0.25 wire, although it's strong, keep a firm tension on it, but don't pull. Just keep a firm tension on it so it's really straight when you're twisting. Don't pull it, just keep a firm tension there, and that'll be fine. Yeah, and obviously you can use as many different colours. That would be fantastic. 10 different
I've got
colours.
another one.
Oh my word!
It keeps on flashing up, and I'm not touching it, and it's just doing it like magic. Hey, this modern technology. Jackie in Greater Manchester says, "Hi, Vicky and Linda. Can I ask? I have got the wire twister. You do. It looks like it's coming apart. Love and hugs." That's Jackie.
It looks like it's coming apart.
Why do you? The twister looks like it's coming apart.
Well, if the twister's coming apart, it's probably just the screw on the acrylic, on that sort of acrylic lug at the end of it is probably come loose. Yeah. If you mean the wire itself is untwisting or coming apart, that's simply because you haven't twisted the wire until it's pinged. Tension. Yeah.
And you've got to wait till it pings.
You've got to wait till it pings. Yeah.
Ah,
yeah,
maybe
wait
that's
till it pings off.
Maybe that's it.
Don't think, oh, that's it's got a mind of its own, the wire, and trust the wire, because with the twister tool and the wire, it will break itself off from the point that you anchored it on the key or on the vise. Okay. So we've now popped on the last one, which we've attached this number 12 onto number 9, I think that one is. So get that one on nice and firm as well. If you want to, when you finish the design, that's the point that you could put a little charm on. So we've done that. what we'll do now, as we're running close to time and we've got to get the neckline piece demoed, is probably work on the necklace itself. Vic, if you could get that necklace over itself, I can then probably, because that's nice and firmed up, because now at this point now is when I would go over all of those joins that I've made and firm them up, because I've got my jigsaw together, so I'd firm them up. It's
very solid, this piece, yeah? And as you say,
exactly.
You just need to keep wrapping around to get that.
Exactly.
It's almost structural,
yeah.
But incredibly regimented, don't you think?
So now we've got what is the free form of the filigree, okay? But now you can go round now if you want. This is the time at which you see these coils here.
Yeah.
Turn them round in the direction that they're meant to be going, and then attach them to the bases that are running underneath. You see I've attached from there to there. So now we go round and attach all of these lengths to one another to make sure that that design is now solid. But you have to start off really free form, okay? So all we have to do now is to look at that and think, yeah, that's nice and symmetrical. That is, if you're into symmetry, that's nice and symmetrical. I can see my neckline pieces going up there beautifully.
Yeah,
if it's not as symmetrical as you need it, just add another twist to one side. And that's the filigree part of the design completed. We just have to work the neckline now.
So the kit itself, £32.95. Coming in, you are getting 100 metres of the wire. That's your 0.6. That's your main base wire, and then you've also got your binding wire. That's your 0.25, and that again is your 100 metres. Add in the citrine, so the featured gemstones that sit within this neckline piece, and also add in some of these gorgeous Italian-made brush effect gold coloured beads. Lovely luxury that you've got here, fantastic finish, and you can see how much you've got that very stretched antique feel about this look. Well, that's one look that you could achieve, and you can see how Linda has succeeded in bringing those together. Or alternatively, you could get the same look but this time with different colours, perhaps more of a springtime look. You've got here exactly the same ingredients, identical in terms of the number, the quantity. That's 100 metres of each, exactly the same 0.6 and 0.25 in this beautiful chartreuse wire. Very fresh springtime look. We're going to add in, instead of the gold, we've now got these glorious, and they really are fabulous. I love these. Italian made again, luxury quality. And as you can see there, if I just keep on doing that, there you go. All of these beautiful, as I say, Italian made, a luxury finish to your findings, give you that weight, give you that quality. So you've got all of those, plus you're also going to get, watch out, amethyst is about. One of our most popular gemstones, certainly a gemstone of the moment, in terms of its colours, in terms of its richness. It's a brilliant offer. It's a really strong complement of gemstones, wire and beads. And we're going to give this to you. Well, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is amethyst, one of our most popular gemstones, but then so is citrine. So, and then so is the antique bronze and the chartreuse. So I tell you what, how about we do this? We do both of them for the same price. 39. Oh. Coming at £43.80 there. We will change that, don't you worry about that. Your price tag gonna match. I was going to say, our system fighting that price tag.
It was, wasn't it?
System says no to that price tag. We want it to match the price offers, but system says no at the moment. Let's see what we can do on this price tag. Let's take it down. We're hoping our computer, let's see if our computer wants to play with us. There we go. $39.95 is all you pay for this fantastic combination. Don't forget you're getting 200 metres of wire, 0.6 and your 0.25 with those gorgeous Italian brush finished. And then you've got your amethyst, the real deal, those gorgeous, rich, deep purples. And actually got some really nice lighter, almost Rose de France-like qualities of colour coming through as well. Great compliment. $39.95. Now you might want to go for both looks, then you'll have 400 meters of wire. Why not? Or perhaps you want to go for, I don't know, I still see this as springtime. I don't know, maybe people would look at this in an autumn winter collection, but I don't. I see this very springtime. I think it's the citrine, but then the chartreuse, very much spring, very much that freshness and that quality. So you've got two options. Or both options. It's up to you. $39.95 for your chartreuse, your amethyst, and your silver finished spacer beads. You can imagine that actually in the amethyst and with the chartreuse greens. You can imagine that fresh look.
Yes, exactly. Very sort of bridesmaidy look, I think.
So,
right. So now we're going to work the neckline piece. Okay. So all we do is we take one of the a workable length of the 0.6, round nose pliers, work a complete wrapped loop. Okay. Pop your pliers back in. Take the wire right back up to the base of that prong there, work it round. Again, same thing as on the filigree. Go round after, any time that you use wire, go around afterwards and make sure that all these ends are not sharp or sticking out. Then take one of the citrine, let me just trim this off a little bit on this end, and pop it on. Now don't be frightened to let the wire have its full beauty, have its full stage in a design like this, because it's all about the wire. Pop on another citrine now and bring that down to where you threaded the first one. Take the citrine between finger and thumb and pull away slightly. So you've got roughly about 1 centimetre of wire there showing. Bring up the residue of the wire and twist that around, and then just do a simple twist. Because this is 0.6, it'll behave itself beautifully. Don't worry too much, because that's going to take on the shape of the gemstone. Whichever gemstone you're using, whatever shape it is, the wire will take on the shape of it, so it won't look wrong, trust me. Thread on another, exactly the same. Bring it round, do a couple of little twists. Bring the wire back to it sort of parallel to where you started. Now you can put on 2 or 3 more there to make a little flower design like I have there, but I'm going to sort of try and get through further down to where we attach it to the filigree. So in between those sort of little floral effects of the citrine ovals, pop on another citrine onto this base thread, okay, and then thread another citrine and just repeat again 2 or 3 times or 4. Bring it round between about 1 centimetre from the last bead, give it a twist, okay. Now if you threaded on 3 or 4 of those, then bring it back in line again to that first wrapped loop, and then excuse me, this is when to start using the Italian beads. Now try and, because the beads are hollow, try your very best to straighten the wire, because once it gets inside the bead it tends to want to go in the direction that it's bent in. But see, that went straight through. Yeah. Now time and time again I've hit the perimeter of each bead, but I learnt that if you straighten it up, when it behaves itself like that, it'll go on perfectly. And then it's just literally repeating it again. This is an asymmetric design in as much as I've got the different, with the copper beads here, we've got the different sizes, and we've got a couple which are completely different, they're rondelles. So that gives it a bit of asymmetry. Again, thread on, in between each copper bead, make sure that you threaded on your design in your and twisted it off, that design, so that that is anchored. So again, we're just going to work about 1 centimetre away from the last bead, bring the wire up. This is very much a tiara technique. If you've got the DVD of Tiaras and Fascinators, or even the very first with the how-tos on them, you'll find out how to do this twist. So again,
Linda, I've got another, just a question, and Lisa being very observant, and actually, I beg your pardon, Lisa, because I thought that we were offering exactly the same wire gauges, so I do beg your pardon. I do need to just ask this question because Lisa's brought up a really good question. Question for Linda: would she use 2 lengths of the 0.8mm instead of 3? The 0 instead of 3 of the 0.6 for structure,
really
as the chartreuse offer is the 0.8mm instead of 0.6. So I do beg your pardon, I'll put it out there that I didn't realise that. I thought they were exactly the same gauge, so I do make an apology that we thought that actually it was the 2 point, with both options of the chartreuse and the antique bronze were 0.6, so we will just let you know that the chartreuse is 0.8mm gauge rather than the 0.6, so for anybody who is making the purchase on the chartreuse, you're getting 0.8mm gauge rather than the 0.6. So what would be the answer?
Well, the answer is, if you're thinking you've got 0.6, if you do that 3 times, then you've got literally 1.8 you end up with, don't you, of work hardened wire. So if you're using 0.8, then you've got 1.6 of work hardened wire. Absolutely, it really doesn't matter a jot. All it will alter is the look. It'll either look finer, or it'll look that little bit more of a firmer structure, if you know what I mean. So yeah, by all means, I mean, with the wire twister, you can use any gauge wire that you want. The more pieces of wire within the tool that you affix to it, obviously the thicker the end product's going to come up. But no, by all means, the 0.8, use 2 or even use 3. You'll just get a more of a structured look. The heavier the wire gauge is. And I say thank you, Lisa, for that text message. Question. We appreciate that. You know, as I say, on my behalf, I make apologies that I hadn't made the observation. I did believe that they were both the same gauge. Sorry for that. Right. So what we do is we work down this neckline piece, working the little stands, the little sort of floral stands, and see that one's sort of turned into a little bit of a flower shape. You can put between 3 and 4 on these twists on, but keep coming back to this baseline. You need to follow, for the attachment to the filigree piece, you need to follow that wrap loop in the first place. So bring it down and work it down to the length of the necklace, bearing in mind that a sort of a 16-inch choker working onto an 18, 19, 20-inch, which would be a neckline piece. And work that down to as long as you want that, using exactly that same technique, okay? Then when you come to the end of the length that you particularly want to use, is finish off with a wrap loop again. So you've got your excess, finish off with a complete wrap loop. Push away, bring it over the top, pop the pliers back in, and make a wrapped loop. Trim off your excess. I know this isn't long enough, but I've got one on I did earlier that is. Okay, so now you've got a wrapped loop. You're almost working a hair vine, as it were. You've got a wrap loop at either end now. So with all that wire that you've got left over, when you buy these bundles, then you can make hair vines to match. Yes, exactly. So this is one side that I did earlier using the rondelle and the large, beautifully fashioned flat coin on the one side, and then the other side would have the 2 remaining ones of the rounds. And then you take the filigree that I haven't firmed up yet, and then that wrapped loop, thread it on, okay, to that end one. Take your round nose pliers again and close the wrapped loop. Now, if you're not particularly confident in that, and I must say that it's probably a really good idea, is to take some of the 0.25 wire and catch it into the loop that you've put onto the neckline piece. Okay, hold on to it and then pull excess around, okay, into that loop, so that you've got sort of a double lock, as it were. Okay, so that is now affixed. Again, keep some good tension on it, affix it really, really strongly. Do exactly the same on the other side so that you lock that into place with that little bit of excess that you left off. Take the round nose pliers again, firm that up, trim off, and then you've got sort of a sort of a fail-safe on there that will stay attached. Okay, and then work your other neckline piece that we were just doing here. So we'll put that on as a little short piece there. Work your other neckline piece up, attaching exactly the same way, okay? And then when you've done that, look at it to make sure it's symmetrical enough. Don't finish off the second neckline piece until you're quite happy that it's either a symmetrical look that you're looking for or whether it's a symmetrical look that you're looking for, because if it's symmetry, you're going to have it sort of virtually exactly the same up the neckline. And then to attach up to the clasp, what I did, I took a piece of my twisted wire. Okay, obviously if it's symmetrical, these both need to be exactly the same, and took my round nose pliers and about probably 1.5 inches down the wire is done half of a wrapped loop. So bring it back but don't finish it off, and then pop that into that wrap loop that you've done on the neckline. Pop the round nose pliers back in, okay, push down and pull around. Now you only need, because this is work hardened, you don't really need to wrap that round unless you particularly want to. That will stay there forever because that wire has been really and truly work hardened by the stretching in the twist. And trim off. And then exactly the same on the other end. Obviously you've worked out your dimensions of what length you want it to finish up at. Exactly the same thing. So you've got half of your wrap loop. Pop in, I'm lucky enough to have some antique bronze findings here. Pop that in and let that dangle. Do exactly the same thing, pop that around, trim off, and then, not sure whether these are opening jump, yes they are, these are jump rings that we can open. So we take the jump ring, we open it, and then I've got a nice toggle clasp here in antique bronze. Pop that on. It's probably a good idea, I'm using my fingers here because my hands are quite work hardened, is to use 2 pairs of flat nose pliers for this. Close it up just the same. And then you've got your clasp attached to the whole thing. And then obviously do exactly the same on the other side of the design. And then this is the point then when, you see how angular that is?
Yeah.
But because it's wire, we just put our thumb in and do a natural curve. Okay, and you can do that all around the necklace. Because it's got a wire base, it'll behave itself beautifully. And you can just push it and curve it into sort of a décolletage, sort of into that sort of, you know, you've got your collarbone and things, and you can have it to fit beautifully on you, or if somebody else is going to wear it, then obviously they can have a custom-made fit as well, because it's a wire base. But then what you can do then is simply by using any of your excess wire, you can make a matching pair of earrings using these S shapes, these X coils, having a straight through the middle and attaching your little X coils and having little charm dangles. Attach a charm dangle onto here. Or you can even, because you're going to have a lot of gemstone left over, you can even wire on little gemstones into those wired attachments that you've made to put the jigsaw together.
And the thing is that there is that once you've got the foundations of this type of technique, it then is a case of where do you want it to take you?
Exactly.
Do you want to create the cascade of earrings? Do you want to perhaps do a matching filigree bracelet to match, you know, to get that? There is so much more potential, isn't it? Fantastic opportunity there. Just to highlight the fact, masterclass with the antique bronze wire is the 0.6mm gauge and the 0.25 with the citrine and with the gold finish of the copper beads. That came in at $32.95. Just to quantify that price tag, $32.95 for the 0.6mm and the 0.25, just to highlight that. And then you also got the chartreuse that came to you, and that was the 0.8mm gauge. So I just want to make sure that there's no mistakes happening there. 0.8mm gauge in the chartreuse, 0.25 with the silver and with the amethyst. That came in at $39.95. I do beg your pardon for those that felt that little error. See, told you it was live. An amazing opportunity, $32.95 for the antique bronze edition, or alternatively $39.95 for the chartreuse and the amethyst. An amazing opportunity to create that really design a bespoke look to your jewellery. Filigree work is always going to give you that lovely, elegant finish to your jewellery making. A beautiful opportunity. I'm sure you've enjoyed our masterclass with Linda. We've got lots more opportunities like that coming your way. Just keep a watch while you're watching the day and the evening show. We'll often give you a little bit of a heads up when the next one's coming. I know we've got something special happening tomorrow, just to give you a heads up on tomorrow. We have got the relaunch of the macrame board, so be looking forward to seeing that. I'll be with you this evening from 5 o'clock, 5 till 9. It is The Late Show. We've got some special deals for you. Thank you to Linda for the masterclass. Thank you for your company.
Bye.